Welcome to today's video. Today we will be discussing the Manson family cult. Charles Manson was born Charles Mills Maddox on November 12, 1934, in Cincinnati. His mother was Kathleen Maddox, a 16-year-old girl who was both an alcoholic and a prostitute. Kathleen later married William Manson, but the marriage ended quickly, and Charles was placed in a boys' school at age 12. Rejected in his attempts to return to his mother, Charles was soon living on the streets and getting by through petty crime. Still just a teenager, in 1951, Manson began spending time in prison. He would eventually spend half of the first 32 years of his life behind bars. When he wasn't incarcerated, he also attended reform schools. Manson was described by probation reports as suffering from a marked degree of rejection, instability, and psychic trauma, and constantly striving for status and securing some kind of love. His various offenses included pimping and passing stolen checks. He was released from prison on March 21, 1967, and moved to San Francisco. This is where the family was formed. The family was a group of around 100 followers of Manson who shared his passion for an unconventional lifestyle and habitual use of hallucinogenic drugs, such as LSD and magic mushrooms. The Manson family eventually moved from San Francisco to a deserted ranch in the San Fernando Valley. Manson's followers also included a small, hardcore unit of impressionable young girls. They began to believe, without question, Manson's claims that he was Jesus and his prophecies of a race war. Charles Tex Watson scammed Bernard Crowe to obtain money for Manson. Crowe threatened Manson and the Manson family. Soon after, Manson shot Crowe under the false pretense that Crowe was part of the Black Panthers, an African-American leftist organization. However, Crowe did not die, and Manson feared retaliation from Crowe. In order to escape and move into a new territory away from the Spahn Ranch, the Manson family compound, Manson needed money. In the midst of Manson's escape plan, he was told that his friend Gary Hinman was coming into some money from an inheritance. Manson ordered Bobby Bosley, along with Mary Brunner and Susan Atkins, to go to Hinman's residence and persuade him to turn over the money. Hinman was uncooperative. After being held hostage for days, Manson came over with a sword and slashed Hinman's left ear.
I got a knife on my leg, so I cut Hinman's ear, and I take the gun, he shoots off on the wall, and I throw the gun one way, and I throw the knife the other way, and I give the kid the knife, and I say, "That's how you do it. Don't bring me into this no more. Don't bring me into no violence." Then I'm thinking, I got to scare this character. I say, "All right, now I got to kill you, Hinman." He said, "Oh, don't kill me." I said, "If I don't kill you, you're going to tell my parole officer, and he's going to put me back in prison." He said, "No, I won't tell." I said, "You give me your word as your bond, and your bond as your life, you won't tell." He said, "I give you my word as my bond," and I look back at the Frenchman, and the Frenchman's standing there with a knife. He's got Hinman. "Are we in the truth here?" And he said, "Yes, we're in the truth." I said, "Okay." We patched his ear up and put some Scotch tape on his ear. We fixed him up. He's back on the road. No problems. I'm out of there, man. I straightened it out. I got paid. I said, "Pay the kid what you owe him." He paid him the money. They transferred the cars and made their deals. So then Hinman got he got the knife. Oh, no, he got the gun. He got the gun. He said, "I'm going to go kill that." And he said, "Well," and Bobby said, "No, I can't let you do that." He said, "You gave your word." And he said, "Well, no, that don't mean nothing to me." You know, he said, "He cut my ear. I'm going to go blah, blah, blah." And Bobby said, "No, I can't let you do that," because he was standing up for me. Hinman says, he pushed by Bobby, and Bobby handed him the knife. And he says, "I'll not let you harm him because he was standing in my place and he's my brother."
Hinman's blood was used to smear political piggy on the wall along with the Black Panther's paw to implicate the Black Panther Party. Bosley was arrested when he was found sleeping in Hinman's vehicle, wearing the bloody clothes worn during the stabbing, and with the murder weapon concealed in the trunk tire. Shortly before Hinman's murder, Manson met music producer Terry Melcher. Melcher showed some initial interest in Manson's music. Ultimately, however, he decided not to work with him. When Melcher moved to Malibu, California, in early 1969, He leased his Los Angeles home to Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate. When Manson ordered Charles Tex Watson to go there with several other cult members and kill everyone there as gruesomely as you can, he may not have been aware that Tate and her husband, Roman Polanski, were the occupants. The 4 people in the home were made to gather in the living room, and Tate and Sebring were linked by ropes tied around their necks. Sebring was shot and stabbed to death. Frykowski and Folger managed to free themselves and flee the house, but both were chased down and killed by Krenwinkel and Watson. Finally, Atkins and/or Watson fatally stabbed Tate. Tate was 8 months pregnant. As they left, Atkins used Tate's blood to write the word pig on the front door.
And running in different places, and I was left sitting with Sharon Tate, and she was talking to me, and I remember that I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing for her as she begged for her life and for the life of her baby.
The next night, they searched for more victims. After several hours of searching, the group arrived at the Los Angeles home of grocery store executive Lino LaBianca and his wife, Rosemary.
Over. The next night in Silver Lake, Rosemary and Lino LaBianca, random, horribly unlucky victims, killed almost the same brutal way. Death to pigs written in their blood on the wall. Helter Skelter on the refrigerator.
And then when all the words came out, or news came out about what was inside, how they were killed, there was an element of fear, yes.
Eyewitness News Inland Empire Bureau Chief Bob Banfield recalls how the city was petrified and thirsty for information as he canvassed the LaBianca neighborhood, talking to neighbors the day after the murder.
This time, Manson went along to the house where a couple named LaBianca was mercilessly slaughtered.
So when Tex and I went in to the LaBianca house, there was a little dog out there going, "Roo, roo, roo." I told the dog, shh. And it's funny, dogs just never bark at me for some reason.
The dog would live. The people would not. Manson says he tied up Lino LaBianca and asked him about a gangster, Frankie Carbo.
I asked him if he had the black phone book, the one from New York City that he owed. Did you ever hear of a guy called Frankie Carbo?
But what was put out was that you never knew Lino LaBianca before you went into that house.
I didn't. I knew Frankie Carbo. Frankie Carbo knew Lino LaBianca. And he said, "What do I know about the black phone book?" And I told him that I was sent from God to get the black phone book. I told him, "Don't lie or you'll die."
Again, a confused motive. Prosecutors developed no evidence of any Manson tie to Frankie Carbo. They are certain of what happened at the LaBianca house. Tex Watson, with the assistance of the female family members, stabbed the couple to death in the same way victims were massacred at the Sharon Tate house.
Then, in October, Manson and a few of his followers were arrested at Barker Ranch in Death Valley on suspicion of automobile theft. One of those arrested pointed towards Atkins in an earlier murder, and Atkins, while jailed, boasted to cellmates of the Tate murders. The trial, which combined the Tate and LaBianca murders, began in June 1970 with Kasabian, who had been granted immunity as the main prosecution witness. Manson, Atkins, Van Houten, and Krenwinkel were found guilty in January 1971. Watson was tried and convicted later that year. All received the death penalty, but the sentences were commuted to life in prison after California abolished capital punishment in 1972.
Do you believe that there should be a death penalty?
A death penalty?
Yes, for someone who commits a murder or something like that.
Aren't we all born to die? We're born with a death penalty.
In a gas chamber?
In a gas chamber. Well,
or by hanging, or by an electric chair.
I see what you're searching for.
Should there be a supreme penalty for committing a crime?
What do you think?
I'm the one who's asking you.
Yeah, but if I don't give you the answer that you want...
Doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
It's your opinion.
Well, I don't have the authority to say anything like that.
You have the authority to believe.
I believe what I'm told to believe. Don't you?
Although they became eligible for parole, their requests were repeatedly denied. However, in 2023, Van Houten, who was 73 years old, was granted parole and released from prison.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. Become a weekly watcher.